the company's done this many times in the past, cut jobs to make people feel like their jobs are in jeopardy or they're in a panic. So when it comes time to negotiate, people just go, oh, I'm just happy to have a job, and they don't want to fight for anything.
Let's talk about the layoffs at UPS. This was announced at an earnings call. UPS said that they were going to be laying off 20,000 people in response to anticipated lower demand from Amazon due to the tariffs. So this is obviously very big news and very concerning for the Teamsters at UPS. Obviously, Roswell Hub is a YouTube channel run by a UPS Teamster in Atlanta, as well as and he gets help from another UPS Teamster in Boston, that is David Allen and Greg Kerwood. They put out a video last week about the layoffs where they kind of gave their reaction to the news, and I thought there was some good stuff that they had to say about it. You know, a big part of the thing that they wanted to convey to people was, you know, don't panic, right? You know, I mean, this isn't happening yet. When it happens, we'll see how it happens and we'll see how we can respond. But I pulled a little bit from their video, and I wanted to share it with the audience. Here is David and Greg on the Roswell Hub talking about these layoffs.
Now, Greg, when we talk about the 20,000 layoffs, that doesn't mean 20,000. They're not all union jobs, correct?
That's correct. In fact, I would guess that probably a vast majority of them are going to be management jobs. But again, we don't know until we know. Again, the closures and all of that consolidation and closures and automation and all those things have been part of a long-term plan with UPS. It's not news. Again, it sucks for those whose lives are upended. I'm not, ever going to pretend or forget that is, what's going on for some people. But, you have to keep in mind the company is messaging here, right? They don't just walk out and say, hey, guess what, folks, we're doing this, right? They're sending a message to their shareholders. And then the other side of this, believe it or not, our contract is only 3 years away, right? Scared employees are not employees that fight for better working conditions, right? So it's in the company's best interest, and they've done this many times in the past, to plead poverty, to cut jobs, to make people feel like their jobs are in jeopardy or they're in a panic. So when it comes time to negotiate and fight for better conditions and higher wages and things like that, people just, go, oh, I'm just happy to have a job, and they don't want to fight for anything, right? And so that's another perspective on this, right? The company got their clock cleaned in the last contract, and I'm sure they don't want to go through that again. And part of that was because, they were doing incredibly well and no one could debate that. And so their MO in general over history has been to be making lots of money and then sort of dial it back right before contract time so they can claim poverty and they need this and they need that. So that's another side of things to keep in mind.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
The Teamsters also put out a statement. Teamsters General President Sean O'Brien is quoted as saying, United Parcel Service, UPS, is contractually obligated to create 30,000 Teamsters jobs under our current National Master Agreement. If UPS wants to continue to downsize corporate management, the Teamsters won't stand in its way, but if the company intends to violate our contract or makes any attempt to go after hard-fought, good-paying Teamsters jobs, UPS will be in for one hell of a fight. And so, I'm interested in seeing how the union responds to this when it starts coming down. Interestingly, I do remember almost immediately after the contract went through, UPS announced like 5 or 10,000 layoffs or something. I don't know how many people remember this, but it was pretty quick. And I have a regular spot, a guest spot. I call in once a week on a conservative radio program, and they were like, "Oh, well, look at this. Doesn't this mean that the union, the new contract is bad and the union overplayed its hand or whatever?" And I had to tell them, I was like, those are management jobs, buddy. Those are not, those were not union jobs. Those were management jobs that UPS cut immediately after the contract. And so, so we'll see what happens. Greg Kerwood's cautioning there on two fronts. On the one, that the company did not say that these were going to be union jobs. So these could be more management layoffs. And, I'm sure that UPS, like so many other companies, has a lot of management that could be cut, frankly, right? So, that wouldn't necessarily be such a bad thing. And then also the cautioning on the politics of this sort of thing, right? I think is really, really important to remember that not all business decisions are made because of the financial soundness or because that is going to be the best way to make the company perform the best, right? A lot of business decisions, like decisions in so many parts of life, are political, right? And so there could be a political aspect to this to try to, like Greg said, beat Teamsters down at UPS so that they feel less ready to fight when the next contract comes up. So good stuff. Good stuff from them, and a good statement from Sean O'Brien about how the Teamsters are going to fight if they come after Teamster jobs. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on it. But really not much else to say about it right now until things start coming down the pike. But obviously wishing our Teamsters in the audience the best of luck in fighting this. The number is 844-899-TVLR, 844-899-8857. If anybody would like to call in and talk to us about how folks on the ground are reacting to this, I'd be interested in hearing how drivers and folks in the warehouse are reacting to this news on the Teamsters side. You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project. And you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.